Caspian Sea in Transition, the conference has brought together expertise from different parts of the world and also expertise from Azerbaijan. UFAZ is one of them, and try to look at the problem in different ways, environmental problem in Caspian Sea. This is very urgent because it's been identified by many groups, including a lot of scientists in the region, that Caspian Sea is under a major problem. And that those problems include sea level decline that has impacted the coastlines, and the issue of pollutions, climate change. I came here to discuss a little bit about some of the research we have done over the Caspian Sea basin, meaning that includes all 5 countries, and to see if there is any impact of climate change on the land and also on the sea itself, causing it for the sea level going down. So we looked at historical data sets, and we developed some new techniques which basically says that if you look at multiple sources of stress on the Caspian Sea and then look at the response of the Caspian Sea basin to these stresses, you can find out that if the system ecologically becoming more and more vulnerable. We use satellite data, which are measurements and observations of different parts of the land or ocean or sea. It looks at the color of the land, of the vegetation. It looks at to see vegetation is green or not. It looks at the structure of the vegetation. Are there trees here or there are crops? And it looks at the seasonality of that. And then it looks at it over time to see if it's been deforested or land has been changed to agriculture. So all the history of the observation is there. So it becomes extremely powerful. And another aspect of the satellite data is we measure rainfall from satellite data. We look at the surface temperature from the satellite data. So all that information helps us to really see what's going on the land. Tropical forest is vast, it's extremely diverse, and it has a major contribution to the way the water and carbon is changed into the atmosphere. And doesn't matter where you live in the world, tropical forest has an effect on you, on your climate and on your rainfall and everything. There are 2 or 3 things we found out. First of all, in terms of the water and carbon to the whole atmosphere of the earth, tropical forests are extremely important. The second thing we found, that because of the climate change in the past 20 years, similar what I showed yesterday about Caspian Sea, tropical forests are becoming more and more vulnerable to climate change. That means they're becoming more dry, the species die, the mortality has changed, and they are starting to lose their resilience to climate. Here in Caspian Sea, you have seen also vulnerability to the climate because the sea level going down, and also a lot of areas in the north of the Caspian Sea becoming dry. And so those things change a lot. So it's the same effect we see almost everywhere in the world, that our ecosystems are becoming vulnerable to climate change. Recent years, some new things are coming out. One of them is, for the first time, we do three-dimensional structure of the vegetation. So sensors using laser, altimetry and radar actually penetrate into the vegetations, and they can reconstruct the whole profile, three-dimensional profile of vegetation. So that's a new thing is coming out. NASA has launched LiDAR or laser satellites in the past few years, and we're collecting data over all the forests globally, and that gives us a lot of information about how tall the forests are, how dense they are. So give us a lot of information on how they're changing. And then there's also radar satellites that NASA is launching one in the next few months that I'm involved with, and also ESA, the European Space Agency, launching another satellite which is called Biomass. That gives free data to everybody in the world to really look at their land, and not only the forest but agriculture. It also gives you information about not only biomass but gives you information about the structure, the water in the land. NASA is launching new missions, but in the next 5 or 6 years probably. It's called SPG, which is the using spectroscopy, which is multi-band sensor and a very high resolutions. It gives you information about the species of trees and plants. And there are tons of other things. We look at the water of the surface, like soil. We look at the water of the vegetation from different satellites. All of these things are compiled, and it's only not NASA, but Europeans and other space agencies are also contributing to get the suite of the measurements improved. Azerbaijan is hosting COP29 now, which is an opportunity for Caspian Sea researchers and environment to bring this thing up to a level of global attention, where other communities who are looking at the, global problems think about the Caspian Sea as well.